Did you know that joy is a habit? Yep, quite literally, a habit. Just like brushing your teeth, washing your face, learning how to walk, riding a bike, a habit. Even anger is a habit. One I have struggled to fully break myself of. But nonetheless, these are still habits. And more than likely, the habits that we currently possess are not habits we would have chose for ourselves. They were given to us. So I'm going to talk about in this video right now how joy is a habit and how we can cultivate more of said habit.
Petty with your time, be less petty with your mind, be less petty with your blame.
What up, world? It's your girl, Kellye Howard. Welcome back to my channel, Be Less Petty TV, because most shit is not that serious. And today we're talking about joy as a habit. Who wouldn't want more of that? Who? Well, I know I do. So let's get into it. But before I do, be sure to subscribe to the channel, Be Less Petty TV. Hit the alerts and notifications so you know when I upload new videos. Now, before I get too far into the things that we can do to cultivate more joy, I want to talk about some of the ways in which we detract joy from our lives, where we make it almost impossible to have it. One of the biggest things that I currently still struggle with and have always struggled with is taking things personal. Somehow believing that what is done to me, said, or whatever is going on, whether it's my husband, my kids, a boss, or somebody outside of myself, right? Assuming that this is some type of malicious, intentional attack, like they trying to come and assassinate my character. Do you know me? 1,000% of the times, no, they're not assassinating your character. In fact, they're trying to assassinate the character within themselves that they don't care too much about. These are habitual reactions. People act out of habits that they've always kind of been doing, right? That's what a habit is. And so we bump into these energy fields. We bump into other people's shit, the stuff that they're going through, the stuff that they're dealing with, and it becomes the shit that we're dealing with, which is why we have to protect ourselves so that we can be compassionate. And by not taking things personal, we are allowing ourselves to be compassionate because we know we fuck up and we don't want the things we do to be taken personal. So we are compassionate towards these people. We want to know, oh man, what is really hurting this person? This shit got this person bugged up. And I really hope that I'm showing up in my best way possible as to not add to the destruction or hate or confusion that they've already experienced, right? So taking things personal will always detract from your joy. It's pointless and literal waste of time. I do it. So know that these are petty habits that we are all working so very hard to overcome. The second thing, so many people gonna feel this deep, comparing ourselves to others. That's a big one right there, right? That's a big one. Being an entertainer myself, actress, comedian, I have been pitted against people time and time again, but more than that, I've pitted myself against people, looking outward at what she got, what he doing, what they created, thinking that, oh, I'm not enough or I can't create that. Anytime you look outside of yourself for the answer, anytime you compare what you have going on to what someone else have going on, you're automatically telling yourself that you're not enough. And I know some of y'all gonna be like, but what about when you get inspired by, Kellye? Well, when you get inspired by, it should feel good. If you are inspired by somebody you are observing, it should feel good. It should feel refreshing and energizing and make you believe like, oh, I can't wait to dive into that thing in my own way. But if you looking at somebody and you got this tightness in your chest, your stomach, or maybe the mashed cheeks shows up real tight, then I guarantee you, you're not looking at a person and comparing from inspiration. You're comparing from that I am not enough space. And that is going to always lessen your ability to cultivate more joy. This is what it is. And talking about tight asses, the body will always be honest. The body will always be honest. And this is a third way that we tend to detract joy from our lives, is not paying attention, ignoring how the body shows up in a multitude of ways, whether it's headaches, whether it's burning knees from inflammation and poor diet, whether it's anxiety, whether it's raised shoulders, or like I said, that tight ass, and I'm not talking about the ass where you get on the floor and you're doing the leg raises. No, I'm talking about that ass that's tight because you've been clenching it your entire existence. That's the first place you go to hold on to the shit you want to say or the shit you feeling or whatever it is. The body is very, very clear in what it needs most of the time if we are aware enough to notice it. So by ignoring it, we're detaching from that place of joy that we're trying to get to. And to bounce over to the things that will cultivate more joy, compassion, self-compassion is huge. Oh, my battery's about to die. Self-compassion is huge. Knowing that we are not our thoughts and that we are not bad people for thinking certain things. Now, I know what y'all gonna say. Kellye, is psychopaths out here? People got some really fucked up thoughts. And what do you mean? You're right. But I know for me and a lot of the other people that I surround myself with, probably to include you, you are not your thoughts. These thoughts are not who you are. They are habits, which you have always thought and you've continued to think, whether negative or positive. I remember hearing a little excerpt from an audiobook I was listening to that talked about this young boy was asking his father because his grandfather told him that there's two lions in the mind, right? You have the lion that wants you to do all the great things and wants you to expand and grow and live your best life. And then you have the one that is negative and pessimistic and always focuses on the shit that's going wrong and the shit that ain't gonna work out. And which one will grow is the one that you feed. The reason why that is even a story is because it's habits. The one you constantly give things to and give reinforcements to and say, hey, you're doing a great job by doing that. So self-compassion and knowing that these ruminating thoughts and stuff that comes up in our mind is not who we are, and we can cultivate better thinking habits and more positive thoughts that will balance out some of that negativity that hovers and pretty much lessens our ability to cultivate joy in our life. So yeah. Number 2, and the things that you can do to cultivate more joy is meditative, purposeful activity. So meditative activity, meaning like anything that you have going on. It really doesn't matter what it is. You can make into a meditative activity by just paying attention to what it is you're doing. Being there 100%, not in your thoughts, not in what you need to do after you do this thing, but just being right there with the thing. Like if you're folding clothes, right? Taking your time and folding the clothes, maybe even smell the clothes to see what the fabric softener smells like. Maybe even rub your hands across the clothes to feel it on your hand. Like it is ways to make everything you do meditative by just being there with it. And thoughts will arise because they're habitual. That's just how it works. The mind fucking thinks. That's okay. All we have to do is remind ourselves that we are working on this. We are working on cultivating more space, more awareness, so that we can attack some of those areas, those habits, those petty ways in our lives that is not allowing us to have the most joy that we desire. So meditative activity, and that can be anything. I know some people be like, I don't want to sit down and meditate. Girl, what you talking about? That's fine. You don't have to meditate. You can do it with anything. Anything can be a meditative activity. All you have to do is be there with the activity as much as you're able. And when your mind drifts, bring it back. And last but not least, a lot of people don't know the things that make them joyous. They have no idea what adds joy to their life. And that's okay. That doesn't mean that you can't find it. I suggest starting with lists. This is that list, L-I-S-T, in case that didn't come out clearly. Lists are very important, right? Maybe write down the 5 things that made you happy when you were 10, and the 5 things that made you happy when you were 15, and the 5 things that made you happy or joyous when you were 20, completely independent of anyone else. So it's not like, oh, that time my mommy took me to the park. Like, no, when I was coloring, that's something that made me happy. When I used to draw these little figures, that made me happy. When I organized my Barbies, whatever. These are cues and clues to what makes you happy or what brings you the most joy. Like our child self knew how to play. Our child self knew how to escape and really have fun in this world. But we get covered and discombobulated by all of the habits given to us, because these are habits that were imposed upon us. We didn't choose these habits as young children. Like if you were told as a young child, hello, young child, okay, I'm going to give you a couple habits here today. You can be completely stressed the fuck out and run around like a chicken with your hair cut off when you're 20, or you can cultivate a meditative practice now at age 5 and continue this on through your years and have peace in your life. We probably would have chose the one that we wanted, but that's not life. We're given these things, but we always have choice, free will. We have the ability. I don't care whether you are subconsciously aware of this or not, or consciously aware of this, or if it's a subconscious thing, but we always have a choice. Always. And so you can choose to cultivate more joy in your life by checking your habits, questioning these things that don't make you feel good, questioning these things that cause upset in the body, the tightness, the ass cheeks, the raised shoulders, the irritability, the ruminating thoughts when they become excessive, right? It's something that triggers that. And until we figure out what that trigger point is, it's just gonna keep coming back. It's like a slow leak in your tire. The tire isn't going to just fix itself because you put some Fix-A-Fat in it. Yeah, maybe for a while. I said Fix-A-Fat, Fix-A-Flat in it. Maybe for a while, but overall, at the end of the day, you will definitely have to eventually change or get that tire repaired. And so it's the same thing with your habits. You're going to eventually have to change the way that you're looking at your habits or repair the mindset that you have around your habits in order to cultivate joy as a habit. It's practice, as with anything else. And so I believe in you. I think that you can definitely cultivate it. I know, because as a little girl coming from Harvey, Illinois, nobody could ever tell me I'd be sitting here making a video right now talking about how to be less petty, because I'll be just petty as hell. But I believe in you. So thank you so much for joining me today on Be Less Petty TV. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, and don't forget, you have the power. You have the power. So take it into your own hands. Seriously, like, work on those habits that are not serving you. It's going to be hard at first, but the more you do it, the easier it gets. I've been your girl, Kellye Howard. This is the channel Be Less Petty TV, and I will see you back here next Friday. Bye.
With your time. Be less petty with your mind. Be less petty with your blame. All that petty shit is lame. Be less petty with your friends. Love first. Make amends. Be less petty with your life. Be less petty with your wife. Be less petty with your mom.